Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between. Your host, Sybil Amuti, and I am so super excited to have back again with me, Dr. Cindy Trimm.
Hey there, Sybil. I think we're talking about
Dr.
everything
Trimm.
in between.
All of the things that are happening in between, right?
Oh yes, yeah.
Oh my
And those are
goodness. And
so
that's such
those
a
are so
long
important.
chapter.
Yeah, that's so important. It's all about the journey, not the destination.
That is so true. Great girlfriends, we hope you're having a magnificent day. I just want to take a moment to stop and just give Dr. Cindy Trimm a huge shout out, because let me tell you what happened. In true great girlfriend behavior, I feel I have to be 100. We were having the recording of a lifetime a couple of days ago. Dr. Trimm was going in. Just dropping so many major gems, and I was trying to capture all of it. And guess whose internet just dropped? It just dropped. Like we're back in 91, 92, where internet was just
Wait, no. Back in 1G. No, wait, hold on. Back in analog.
oh my gosh, back
We
in
weren't even
analog.
digital. We went back to
We
analog.
went all the way back to analog. And I tried everything to get it back going and it wouldn't get back on, but she agreed to come back and record again today with me. So this was by might, by force, by determination that we got together again today, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So for those of you that don't know about Dr. Cindy Trimm, she's been an all-star in my spiritual journey for, Dr. Trimm. I want to say 20 years. I want to go back to
Wow.
college. Yeah, because your first book, the first book that I received was my devotional when I was going through deep, dark
Mhm,
days. And
mhm.
my sister gave me your book, and I became an ally, a supporter, a follower, a fan, a believer,
A
and
brand ambassador.
a brand ambassador. Exactly. And I bought into everything kingdom based. And great girlfriends, I am a follower, believer, lover of Christ. And my faith is everything. And so Dr. Trimm's balance of practical foundational tools for your spiritual journey alongside just having a really impressive career, Dr. Trimm. I want to just lay out that she was in politics. She is a transformational leader. She travels the world speaking in corporate. She speaks in political places, nonprofit organizations, spiritual places, everywhere you can imagine. She's welcomed as an empowerment specialist and a revolutionary thinker and a catalyst for change. And so, being able to speak with you one-on-one yet again is an honor and a privilege to bring forward some hope, because we need it right now.
Yeah, the honor is mine. I recognize that I've been sitting for the last couple of weeks just contemplating the time that we're in and how I can encourage people in the midst of this pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, the best thing to do is to build a case for hope and to
Mm-hmm.
encourage people to have courage and to believe, because we've been faced with so many other diseases and pandemics and wars and pestilence that threaten to wipe humanity out, but we are still here. And we are going to overcome this, and we're going to be bigger, and we're going to be better, and we're going to be greater than we could ever imagine. And right now, I want to help people to face forward, to lean into their future, and to build capacity while we're trying to find a cure for this pandemic. And I think that one of the greatest cures that we can find is the cure for possibility blindness.
Mm, that's so big. You said so much there, because, being forward thinking in a moment where people feel like they're at a standstill, a lot of people find that very hard. But one thing that we know for sure, like you said, there will be a tomorrow. We're going to move through this, and the determination that we show today really will set us up for getting through this. But I want to get into possibility blindness, because I really feel like that's a place where we can sit on this episode.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's talk about that. Give us
Well,
definition for that.
yeah. I was thinking that a lot of times we become blinded by the prevailing culture, the things that are going on around us. And then we have CNN in one ear, Fox News in another, our
Mm-hmm.
friends in another, and we're losing touch with ourselves. And
Mm-hmm.
so we're turning on the outside for solutions that God has given us on the inside.
Yeah.
And, I really want to help people to make that journey, that inward journey, going within, so that they can see all the amazing things that they personally have and how to use that. And it's the power of envisioning, it's the power to change, it's the power to think, and it's the power to grow.
Mm.
And we should never ever live our lives with regrets, because we're blinded to the possibilities that are innately hidden within a problem.
Mm. Yeah.
Hmm.
That is so true. That is so true. So you in your last book, Goodbye Yesterday, you talk about developing a dominion mindset, the law of greatness. And a lot of us don't know what's on the inside, Dr. Trim. So many of our great girlfriends are still asking, what's in there? What is my purpose? Where do I
Hmm.
fit? How do I serve the world right now? Or how
Hmm.
can I even bring more value to my home when I've been furloughed or,
Yeah.
possibilities seem limited. What do you
Yeah.
say to that?
Well, when I wrote this book, Goodbye Yesterday, Activating 12 Laws of Boundary Defying Faith, I started this whole idea of how to empower individuals with the tools that they already have.
Mm-hmm.
And I discovered that a lot of books describe the tools, but no one really showed us how to use the tool. So
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to show people how to use the tool called faith. And I wrote the book. It's written in three simple parts. The first part is reframe, or four simple parts. The first part is reframe. The second is recharge. The third is reclaim, and the fourth is restore. And it opens up with us just a very simple chapter: put first things first. And this is the law of prioritization. And stop making other people your priority when you are
Mm-hmm.
their option. You've
Mm-hmm.
gotta take care of your number one assets. That's you. And if you don't have a plan for someone, for your life, you will be you will be a part of someone else's plan. If you don't
Mm-hmm.
have a vision for someone else's life, you'll be a part of someone else's vision. And if you
Mm-hmm.
don't have a goal for your own life, you'll be a part of someone else's goal. And everybody else can see your value and worth. Why can't you? So it's a law of priority. Start with God. And anything that starts with God ends up good. That's the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, the law of transition. And that says start where you are. You cannot start where you're not. You can only start where you are. And that's
Mm-hmm.
how a GPS operates. You can say, I want to be in New York, I want to be in California, I want to be in Atlanta. But if you don't put the coordinates in, if you don't allow that GPS to locate you, you will
Mm-hmm.
never get where you want to go. So where you are is enough, and you don't have to justify it. You don't have to explain it. All you have to do is put those coordinates in. Where are you, number one, and where do you want to be? Number three, separate, separate, separate. This is a law of sanctification, and this is how you set something apart for use. And there's a saying that says God is trying to write the best chapter of your life. Stop taking the pen from out of his hand.
Mm-hmm.
And so, separate, learn how to say goodbye. And then the next thing is just bring order into your life. This is the law of order. And how I learned it, one day I was praying and praying for big things. And this is what God said: start with those small things.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can just clean up that one chair that you pile up every week. So what would happen is I like a clean house and I like order. But I had this one chair in the corner of my bedroom,
Uh-huh.
and I would, dress and come home and put my clothes there, never hang them back up until the weekend. And I got the revelation. This is how you deal with your life. You just let things pile up. And
Mm,
then you got to scurry on the weekend and put things away when you could just find a place for it immediately after you take it off. So I learned the
mm,
law of order. So I bought, people need to bring order to the trunk of their car.
mm-hmm.
That,
Mm.
everybody has a junk drawer. Uh,
Yes.
they have that space in their closet. I have a sister that is obsessive compulsive.
Uh-huh.
Obsessive. Everything around her is clean and orderly until you open up her closet. Shoes fall out. The shoes fall out. Bowls roll out. The clothes all over. She said, "I just can't get this one area of my life together."
Mm,
And we need to clean out our closets. That's what we need. Bring
yeah.
order to your closet. Bring order to your thoughts. Say goodbye to resentment. Say goodbye to jealousy and competition. You don't need those things. They're only
Yeah.
going to clog your mind, and it's going to remove you from being creative and innovative. You cannot be innovative with a dirty slate. You got to have a clean slate. And then the last
Mm,
few is, the law of potential. And if you understand that everything in the universe is created with potential, potential is simple. That within in every seed, there is the potential of being greater than what it is at any given moment, placed in the
mm,
right environment.
mm-hmm.
And so that's the power of potential. We all have potential. And this book, Goodbye Tomorrow, it simply is your yesterday does not have to define your tomorrow. It doesn't have to be a duplication of tomorrow. And for a lot of people, when we transition, it's dark, it's horrible. And I remember the story of the caterpillar. Just when the worm thought that its world would come to an end, that's when it was transformed into being a
Mm-hmm.
butterfly. And that's what's
Mm.
happening to all of us. We're being transferred and transformed into being a butterfly.
That is so true. That is so true. Okay, so so powerful, and the title of the book for me really does hit home because I remember being attached to my story of depression. This was 20 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like I felt like God was trying to show me love, show me hope, show me joy, show me the opportunity to see the world differently and to embrace my relationship with God differently. But I was so attached to feeling sad and that I was afraid to say goodbye
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to depression. I
Mm-hmm.
literally was afraid. And when I shared that with someone who had gone through it, she said, I understand that it's been a comfortable place for you.
Yeah.
As uncomfortable as pain is, it's familiar, it's comfortable. And so you have created a home there, but you've got to be willing to let it go.
Yeah. I grew up
And
in
I see
poverty.
that.
Yeah, I grew up in
Ah.
poverty. And,
Mm-hmm.
the transition between poverty and abundance or poverty and wealth is an interesting transition because you have to say goodbye to old habits. See, I knew how to navigate the
Mm-hmm.
terrain of poverty. I didn't know how to
Mm-hmm.
navigate the terrain of wealth. So when wealth came to me, by the time I got to the end of the year, there was no more wealth because I had
Mm-hmm.
to change my strategy. So there's a strategy that you use while you're going through pain and going through difficulty, which will be a different strategy for when you come out. And so you have to trust yourself that you know what's right for you,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have to understand that the greatest gift you can give yourself is the gift of goodbye. And this book, Goodbye Yesterday, is about bringing closure. And closure means finality. It means letting go. It means honoring what you came through by pronouncing a benediction on it and
Mm-hmm.
living so that you can go on to your next. Let me tell you this analogy. Every day I write about 1,000 words. I'm an author, so I write every single day. And yesterday I was thinking about the danger of procrastination. And so I wrote this little story about a man that was on his dying bed, and he was visited by three virtues. The one was untapped potential. The second one was unexpressed talent, and the third one was unhoned skills. So these three virtues visited this man on his dying bed, and they were crying profusely, begging him not to take them to the grave with him. So the first said, if only I could give you more time, I would have showed you that each problem you resented, protracted, and rebuked was actually a gift that highlighted all the potential that was hidden on the inside of you. And I don't know if you would have listened because you let the loudmouth personality of self-doubt convince you that everyone else was more talented and gifted than you. And although you could not see it because you were blinded by fear and resentment, I was always hidden in seed form. And all you had to do was water it with faith, faith in yourself, faith in God. I was God's gift to you, and maximizing your potential would have been your gift back to him. And the second one, after he finished, stepped forth, and he was angry. And in anger, he shouted out, you were smart enough. You were intelligent enough. You were talented enough to do everything you wanted to achieve your greatest aspirations and to live the life of your dreams. But you let insecurity convince you that you couldn't. And the third one, most vociferously and uncontrollably, he began to cry out the loudest. And in between sobs and just above a whisper, he got enough breath to say, we could have been so good together. Only you had reached for the skills you already possessed inside. But instead, you waited to be rescued by someone else. Just by taking a simple journey within, you could have lived as an individual, but you're going to die all by yourself. It was never about what your mother did, your boss could have done, and your father refused to do. It was all up to you. You had the skill. All you needed was the will. And as the man took his last breath, he said, why are you so angry and so sorrowful? Why do you torment me with so much grief? They answered in harmony, only you could have brought us to life, and now we must die with you. It is said, good things come to those who wait, but I beg to differ. If anything comes at all to those who wait, it would have to be the leftovers that is
Not the leftovers, Dr. Trimm.
discarded from those that worked and hustled to put feet to their dreams, maximize their potential, and hone their skill. The only one thing worse than living with regrets is to die with them. 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones you did. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from your safe harbor, and just do it.
Dr. Trimm.
Yes, I'm over here crying. I got little tears coming in my eyes.
Oh my gosh. Oh
You
my
got to say goodbye to yesterday. You got to. You've got to. And I know what it feels like. This year I had to say goodbye to a lot of things, and it's hard because some of the things I said goodbye to is not because it wasn't working. It was because it wasn't working any longer. So, it's going to be dark, and you're going to have to give yourself a going away party, and you're going to have to mourn. But you know what's right for you. So you've got to trust yourself, and you've got to lean on faith in yourself and faith in God, that you've got what it takes to move on, to go beyond, to start all over, to do something new, to explore new possibilities, to take full responsibility for yourself, for your happiness, for your joy, for your future. And you do it by pronouncing a benediction on the old. Goodbye, yesterday.
That is so powerful. I think that right now in the world specifically, so many people are afraid of what tomorrow holds. And there's a lot of concern about what the new normal will look like. And people are having a hard time adjusting to the idea that there will be a different world we walk into.
Mm-hmm.
What have you had to say to people, who are sitting in a bit of paralysis around, but this pandemic and tomorrow, and what will that look like for us?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is going. Well, firstly, I say to them, look, this is life.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not waiting for the new tomorrow. This is tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we have to embrace it. This is the tomorrow. And I want to encourage people with the knowledge that, look, life will never be the same. This is going to give rise to the loss of some professions that we always thought would be around.
Mm-hmm.
AI is going to be commonplace.
Yeah.
And with that, we're going to lose a lot of jobs. However, for every one job that AI and the new technology makes obsolete, 2.5 other jobs are created. So the question is, will you have the skills to occupy those jobs in those positions?
Yeah.
And you have to think about how to make yourself relevant and
Mm-hmm.
employable, and make sure that you don't become obsolete with these jobs. So during this time, the greatest journey, the longest journey, and the most exciting journey is not without, and it's not going into outer space. It's going into inner space. And it's
Mm-hmm.
worth the journey. Take the journey.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a
Mm-hmm.
journey you take alone, right?
It is. It is. And it's so intimate. But I think the gift, the treasure of it is the value that you realize has always been there.
Hmm.
It's
Yes.
always been there. It's just been untapped potential. And,
Yeah.
that is, you can run the tape. We talk about this at high frequency on the show because, we start with the value of friendship first with yourself so that you can be of service or be of benefit to other people. But taking a look on the inside for some people so scary. And I'm like, it is the most beautiful place you can go when you really go there because you meet God there. That's where I met God on the inside, deep
Inside,
down.
inside. Yeah, it's an inner
Yeah.
journey. And and that's why we hire coaches and mentors.
Yeah.
I mentor women in leadership, and I also mentor authors.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a coaching company. I'm a life strategist, so I don't
Mm-hmm.
consider myself a coach. I hire coaches, and we have one of the best coaching programs for professionals in the world, hands down.
Mm.
And my company, we coach all the top thinkers, from judges to billionaires to those that are in C-suite to the supervisors and those that are emerging leaders. And we help them. We help them to navigate life. I've
Mm-hmm.
hired so many coaches in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I've hired the top coaches, and I paid the top mentors. One of my mentors is Les Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody knows Les Brown. He's not only a mentor of mine, he's a colleague of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know the value of a coach. A coach will help you to lean in. And what makes our program one of the best is not only do you have me as a life strategist, every single day you are on a virtual platform. So you're coached every single day. Then you have your personal coach. Then you have access to industry specific coaches.
Mm-hmm.
So altogether, you have a total of about 17 coaches that coaches you in a year
Mm.
period. And it's one of the best in the world. And I
Wow.
believe it's the top coaching program. So if people want to know more about that, they can visit us on triminternational.com.
That is good. And great girlfriends, y'all better jot that down. Listen, I'm telling you, because every single time I have an opportunity just to listen and hear you speak, but also to read and study you, your writing, there's a sense of peace, clarity, calmness, stillness, and excitement, which is positive anticipation of the future, because we know who holds the future.
Yes.
So I I'm overwhelmed right now just because you said something earlier that just stuck with me about just
Hmm.
getting the leftovers. Those who
Yeah.
wait, you get the leftovers. And I don't think I've ever heard that said before, but don't we know the evidence of that? Because you start living out the leftovers, which is the assignments from other people's vision. You
But
know?
I heard you when you said, "Oh, Dr. Trimm, leftovers." I heard that.
Leftovers. But I think about it and I recognize, yeah, you get hired to fulfill a position to run a task and be a task rabbit for someone else's vision. That's leftovers when you could have
Mhm.
really guided the you could have been a captain, and been in
Mhm.
charge of really establishing vision and implementing it and having other people play the role that we end up playing when we don't move on things.
Yeah, yeah. So we have the ability to develop our skills. And, to be quite frank, when I wrote this book, Goodbye Yesterday, it started with commending your morning. And everybody
Hmm.
was like, are you going to write another book, another book? So 10 years later, I was trying to decide, okay, what would be my focus?
Yeah.
And I had the download, this divine download from God, Hello Tomorrow. And this is all about vision. And like I said, my books are not describing tools, but it's describing how you use them. So it's
Hmm.
like having a coach in a book. So I
Hmm.
talk to people how to lean into the future and how to write a vision, the 8 category, the 10 to 12 categories, excuse me, the 12 categories that you write a vision in. And this is what I use for my life. And then it was Goodbye Yesterday. And this is so very important that you cannot say hello to tomorrow until you say goodbye to yesterday. And this is
Hmm.
such an easy book to read. It's so easy, and the stories are so compelling.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You're going to be excited about these stories that are told in this book. I just love this book.
Oh, that's so good. Well, great girlfriends, we've got time right now to really get into quality content, not taking in and consuming things that are not going to feed our souls, that are not going to nourish us and prepare us to move
Hmm.
into the next stage of our lives and our careers and our vision, whatever those are. So you've said so much on this episode. One, about being willing to say goodbye to yesterday. Two, the investment in getting inner vision and getting clarity and why that's so essential and why, I've had many guests speak to the same thing. Having a coach is a good thing. It is an essential thing. I mean,
Mm.
I can't tell you how blessed I've been to have some amazing coaches, mentors, sponsors, allies, advocates at every
Yeah,
level.
yeah.
It's
Everything else,
wisdom.
right?
Yeah. Who wouldn't want wise counsel? And, it's just beneficial, great girlfriends, in any season of life, but especially now if you're feeling stuck, to get into this book, but also get into the coaching. Find out,
Yeah, yeah.
go to Trim International and find out about the coaches that are available and how you can jump into just having solutions, because people have gone ahead of us and there's no reason we have to bump our heads,
Hmm.
when we can get answers and get wisdom to help us kind of navigate our journeys a bit differently, be stronger and better.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing is that I guess Ruth Weir says it best. We are all at the center of our own narrative, but it's
Mm-hmm.
a narrative that changes every time we retell it. And when I thought about that, we're in the center of our own narrative. I think about the power of intentionality, and that's the
Mm-hmm.
secret sauce of
Mm-hmm.
success. And intentions is like calibrating your life.
Mm-hmm.
And you could set your intention to success, prosperity. And once you understand that intention is a mental proprietary asset, it
Mm-hmm.
means that it's something that will bring worth, and it carries immeasurable equity. And so these are things that you could do yourself. You don't need extra education, but you can intend to do something different. And once you set your intention, then heaven and earth conspires to bring the resources to you.
Mm. That is so real. So real. I've seen it. I promise you. I've seen it over and over, from romance to career to
Hmm.
children to relationships to financial growth and opportunity. Just, I can't say, oh, I've seen it over and over
Hmm.
again. Over and over again. You're absolutely right. Can I ask you one quick
Yeah.
question? I
Yeah.
just want to know about your great girlfriends, the women
Hmm.
that you get to travel with and hang out with and laugh and do life with. Tell me, just give me one little glimpse into what they are like and why that you've chosen them to be your life partners.
Yeah. I have a variety of friends around the world. They're in different disciplines, professions, and they have all have different personalities. And I
Hmm.
love them for different reasons. There are some that are extremely intellectual, and you can never joke with them because they're always on 100.
Uh-huh.
And so, those are the ones that I talk to about the deep things in life. We
Uh-huh.
talk quantum physics. We talk 5G. We
Yeah.
talk conspiracy theory. We talk
Uh-huh.
nanotech, neurotech, fintech. We talk. We're the ones the ones that we think we could take over the world together.
Yes.
Then there are my other friends that their only conversation is money. So
Mm.
we talk about finances and our next investment and what's going on with the economy. Then there's the ones that are not serious at all. You cannot sit down and have a serious conversation. They are not interested.
Yes.
We sit, we eat, and we laugh. That's all we do. We laughed all day. We can't talk theology. We cannot talk psychology, technology, anthropology, quantum physics. We're only going to laugh. That's it.
Yes. Yeah.
I have one friend that is a gossiper. If you say anything to her, the whole world's going to know it.
Oh my gosh.
And people say, well, she's going to gossip. Why you talking to her? Well, there are other aspects of her character that I like, besides
Hmm.
being a gossiper, which I can't stand. And I
Hmm.
tell all the time, I will never tell you a secret. You're going to gossip.
Right.
And but she has a heart of gold. She's the one that is the voice for the underdogs. She's a
Mm.
fighter.
Yeah.
She's not going to let anything happen to someone that doesn't have a voice. The only thing about her is this, that she's going to help the poor. She's going to walk on water. She's going to raise the dead, but she's going to gossip in the process. So if you want anything to spread around the world in
Yeah.
24 hours, tell it to her.
I love it.
Yeah.
I
But
love
I have
it.
friends that are high strung. I have friends that are quiet.
Hmm.
I have a variety of friends, and
Hmm.
they are mirrors for me,
Hmm.
and they help me to stay grounded. They challenge me. They bring me joy. And I say to people, everybody, never just have one friend
Yeah.
that you place all
Yeah.
of your stuff on.
Yeah.
It's unfair.
It's too
It's too
much.
much for
That's
one
right.
person.
That's right.
So I have a
That's right.
lot of friends all over the world. My best friend in the whole world is Dr. Jackie Del Rosario. She's my best friend, and she is just a very upright, moral, brilliant individual that has capacity for me. And what I love about her, she's not smothering. She's balanced, and she doesn't intertwine her emotions with mine. We know where one another stops, one another starts, and we
Mm.
both have our own lives. We have our own
Hmm.
lives, we have our own family. We are not intertwined emotionally into one another. It's a very healthy relationship. We respect our space. When we get
Mm.
together, we have a good time. And
Hmm.
when we're away, we pray for one another, we cover one another. And even if I don't talk to her for 3, 4, 5 days in a row, on the sixth day, we just pick up where we left off.
Mm.
It's healthy.
Hmm.
All of my
So good.
relationships are healthy,
Yeah.
and we're not emotionally enmeshed in one another's lives. We
Yeah.
know where one starts and the other finishes.
So essential. That's so so essential. I ask that question often, and I'm telling great girlfriends, this is a great season to assess. Take a minute right now and just kind of look through the relationships and know the ones that are serving you, you being you, loving you, growing you, connecting. Like you said that, and it reminds me of something my husband always talks about: people taking up emotional space, and you know that freedom to be yourself and to know when one separates and when and to know when your identity is being meshed. I think that's so essential.
Yeah, the whole aspect of relationships. I think it's so important in having a healthy relationship, and knowing the different types of relationships,
Mm-hmm.
because I think we put everyone in the same, but if you look at relationships like a storm, you're going to have different bands. So
Mm-hmm.
you have the first, the second, the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth. And you've got to put each person in their right band.
Mm-hmm.
You start with your inner circle and then you end up with your enemies.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start working everything in between your mastermind group, your family, your friends, and you go all the way out to strangers and enemies. And then you put everybody where they belong.
That's
And
right.
you have to know who your inner circle is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
People that affirm you, people that you can trust, people that will hold you to expressing your greatest potential. They're confidential, and they hold you
Mm-hmm.
accountable to realizing your dreams. They hold you accountable for that.
Yeah.
So those are kinds of friendships that you need. And then, talking about assessing, you've got to be able to assess all your relationships. And
That's
when you
right.
say goodbye to yesterday, that means that you have to pronounce the benediction on some relationships that you have
Mm-hmm.
outgrown. And you have to place distance. Sometimes the distance is a mental and emotional, because I realize that there are some relationships, like family relationships, that you
Mm-hmm.
can get rid of, but you put
Mm-hmm.
emotional distance in there. You've got to be able to download that emotional distance, and that's important.
Yeah. So good. Oh my goodness. You know I could keep you all day, and but I know I can't. But I just want to thank you so much, so much for just being so genuine and just so endearing. And I just can't tell you how much your wisdom means to all of us. So thank you, Dr. Trimm, for taking out time for all of our great girlfriends around the world to really opt into a new way of thinking. And I want to encourage you, great girlfriends, to play this over and over and over again and share it with your great girlfriends and grab the book, not just one for yourself. Of course, get one for your great girlfriends and look into the coaching at Trim International. Dr. Trim, where can they find you on social media?
Cindy Trimm, at Cindy Trimm. I'm on all social medias. Look for the high numbers, because you always have the fake
Oh my goodness.
avatars that are
Yeah.
out there. They're not real
Oh my
avatars. So
goodness.
if you see someone asking you to become a friend that has my picture on it, but the numbers are really low, it's not me. My numbers are always high, and that's how you know it's me. Cindy Trimm or Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Cindy Trimm. You'll find me on all of the social media platforms.
So good. Thank you so much. And I just want to thank my sister, Dr. Minthia Clark, for giving me that first book back in the day when I needed it. And I mean, because that's what a great girlfriend and a sister will do for you. She'll give you something
Yes.
to soothe you, pick you up, and move you forward, right? Help you
Yeah.
say goodbye to yesterday.
Thank you so much for
Thank
having me.
you.
You are an
Thank you so much, Dr.
amazing,
Trim.
amazing personality. I
Oh,
love your
thank you.
personality. You
Thank
are pure
you.
sunshine.
Great girlfriends, did you enjoy this week's episode of the podcast? If so, would you please give us your amazing review on iTunes? Every single review helps another great girlfriend get plugged into the podcast, into the community. Speaking of community, make sure you join our Facebook group, The Great Girlfriends. You follow us on Instagram at The Great Girlfriends and on Twitter at _Great GFS. Last but not least, we'd like to thank my amazing husband, Kwaku, Sam and Dilly, and all of you for being a part of the global community that makes us so strong. Please remember to share with your friends. Keep listening and keep being a great girlfriend. I'm Sybil Amuti, and I'm out. Peace.